I would like to tell you what I learned from my disastrous honeymoon. First, in preparing for battle, I have found plans to be useless, but planning to be indispensable. General Dwight D. Eisenhower. 25 years ago, my sweetheart and I set out on an adventurous road trip of hiking, biking, and fine dining. Our mountain bikes were firmly secured to the back of our burgundy Toyota Camry, and we were in love. What could go wrong? We left our home at sunrise. Small cities whizzed past us, slowly giving way to rolling golden hills with cattle grazing and majestic oak trees and crystal blue skies. As the minutes turned to hours, the gray orange of twilight crept into our journey. Suddenly, our car began to act strangely, and we exited the highway, pulling into a gas station with a convenience store and a suspected drug dealer on a payphone, conversing about drop-off points. Worst of all, we had broken down in front of a travel agency with large posters of tropical islands like Aruba, Tahiti, and Hawaii in the windows. My coworker had recently gotten married at a 5-star resort paradise with white sandy beaches, horseback riding by the sea, complete with dolphins jumping in the lagoon. As I planned our vacation, she boasted ad nauseum of her perfect romantic getaway. Here I was the first night of my honeymoon, wondering if I was going to be sleeping in our car. My new husband was unfazed, his problem-solving skills going full force. As he lifted our mountain bikes from their racks, he said we could easily explore the area and that we would only be staying at a 5-star hotel. So we biked this twilight zone of a village until late in the night. After what seemed an eternity, it was becoming quite clear that our Camry would be my bridal suite. However, Chris was undaunted as we circled back to the parking lot. Our friendly suspected drug dealer was still on the payphone. Hours later, he turned around. The neon of the 7-Eleven lights showcased his tattooed face to full advantage. He smiled warmly with pointed file teeth and introduced himself as Roach. Chris, ever the diplomat, explained that we were on our honeymoon and that our car had broken down. Roach congratulated us and pointed to a dimly lit road where we could find lodging. He also promised to keep an eye on our car, as teenagers had been breaking into vehicles. He could tell because they weren't doing it at a professional level. Up to this point, it had never occurred to me that there were professional levels of crime. We cycled down a desolate road and we encountered 3 motels that could have appeared in slasher films. Would we stay at Bates Motel number 1, Holiday Inn Chainsaw Massacre number 2, or Dracula's Bed and Breakfast? He picked the least sleazy Bates Motel. It didn't meet his standards, but he looked confident. It had pink flamingo peeling paint. Personally, hanging out with Roach seemed like a better idea. My true love looked victorious as he paid the night clerk, whose cigarette never left her mouth while speaking. We walked down a cracked sidewalk to our room. He turned the key, the door cracked open. Peering in, we were greeted by the stench of stale pot smoke and a mustard yellow shag carpet from the 60s. It crackled underfoot, as though it had never been vacuumed. We immediately had a fear of taking off our shoes. We lay in bed, fully clothed till dawn, as we listened through cardboard-thin walls of shouted various positions that would have made a sailor blush. In the heat of the morning, our car was repaired, and to this day, I have no idea the name of this dusty little town, as this was the era before GPS, cell phones, or the internet. The perfect parts of our honeymoon have faded from memory, and we have a good laugh when we think of our night together as man and wife. And the final lesson is from Steve Maraboli. Happiness is not the absence of problems, it's the ability to deal with them.